We are Elementary, and today we're presenting Echo, a way for you to master your finances. My name is Andrew R. McHugh, and collectively we are known as Elementary. And I'm going to start us off here by looking at the ask and the problem. And also I'm the project manager and development lead for this project. We start with Exictos, our client. They're a software and IT company that provides services to banks. These can be services including core banking, internet banking, and mobile banking, among others. And they're popular particularly in Angola and Mozambique, but also in other Lusophone countries as well, including Portugal. Their brief, what they originally gave to us, was that they said that they seek results in terms of knowledge and technology that will improve and adapt the way that their customers interact with their products. And so we took this and did about 4 months of market and user research, completing a competitive analysis, interviews, a literature review, photo diary study, and survey. And after all of this, we were able to truly define and understand a problem. And that problem is that we don't use banks because we want to. We want to get a job or support our new families or pay for a night out on the town. We happen to use banks because they allow us to store our money they allow us to store and retrieve our money securely and sometimes even easily. Because banks are so ingrained in our lives, do they not also have a responsibility to go beyond showing us just lines of transactions? We realized from our research that when people look at their finances, they generally have 3 different questions. First, how am I doing? As in, how am I doing today? 2, how will I be doing in the near and long-term futures? And 3, if I do this, like move to a new city or get a job or am thinking about having a child, what is going to happen? How is that going to affect my finances? Looking at it this way, we can consider that banks, and specifically consumer or personal banking, is opaque. And by opaque, we mean that it's hard to see what's happening with your finances, and this produces less trust and more skepticism with the users. And so in response to this, Elementary, we created a transparent banking product that utilizes learning and prediction to provide better service. And with that, I'm going to bring Jae up here, and she'll talk about process.
Thank you. My name is Jae-Won, and I am the UX design lead for Elementary, and I'll be walking through our design process. So the first thing there were 3 design principles that we wanted to convey for our mobile app. We wanted to make sure that it was transparent, and we also wanted to let users know what to expect. What we mean by that is to have data-driven expectations, such as knowing upcoming transactions or having some contextual insights, and also showing relations of users to others. And with this, our design techniques included designing for a mobile app, adhering to Google's material design, and we did this because they have a good documentation that can also be easily adapted to other platforms, including Android, iOS, and it also has a big Android footprint as well. And also, we wanted to integrate machine learning for prediction. So in order to provide meaningful predictions for each and every individual, we needed to segment specific information for specific individuals. And for this, we imagined a machine learning for predicting types of individuals by doing a customer typology. So let's start with this. So imagine that all these blue dots are humans, and we want to group these people in different ways to provide more useful and relevant information for them. So humans can segment them. So it could be based on how much money they earn or what their age is. In this example, let's say the middle group is middle-income individuals. But a better way to do this is to let a computer find affinities between people and group them based on even more similar features rather than just the general feature. So the orange dots are still the middle income group, but now we know that these individuals they're frequent travelers. Their ages are between 26 to 32, and they do not have a car. So basically, this one is more data-driven, and these are things that humans might not realize should be grouped together. And this is what we took in consideration when building our customer typology. So moving on to our numbers, this semester we did 5-part visions, 4 design sprints, 12 mid-5 prototypes, 32 user tests, 44 internal critiques, and these all led up to our 1 high-fidelity prototype, which we'll be sharing with you shortly. So we started our process by doing some visioning. Our vision included 5 parts, or 5 ideas that we came up with through our research insights. The first one is about anticipating expenditures, which helps users see near-term future spending patterns. Easy ways to save helps the users start saving for something very easily and quickly. For life goal prioritization, users would write down their goal, and the app would help meet the user's goal. Future simulation helped users see long-term predictions about their future spending patterns, and automatic categorization automatically categorizes users' spending patterns. And with this, we implemented what is called a design sprint, which was inspired by Google Ventures' design sprint methods. This condenses traditional HCI methods into one single week. And if you're not familiar with HCI, we started off by doing research. We would create goals, come up with a list of questions, create some service blueprints. We would then follow this up by doing some sketches. We would also make storyboards. And then this would lead up to doing some prototypes. And then we would finish our week by doing some user testing. And our user test included 32 user tests, users in total. And we did some think alouds where the users would basically talk about what they see, and this allowed us to gain insights with all these user feedbacks, which ultimately helped us to improve our design. And we did a total of 4 design sprints from our 5-part vision, and the first one is called Pocket, which is for setting personal goals. Footprint explored automatic categorized spending. Telescope took a look at long-term predictions, and Echo explored these short-term spending expectations. So we had many different stages of our prototypes, ranging from low fidelity to medium fidelity to our high fidelity prototype. And for each iteration, we had a lot of internal critiques that we did as a group, which allowed us to get to our final prototype, Echo, which Joel and Andrew will be introducing.
So hello, good afternoon. I'm Joel Rodrigues. I'm the user research lead and UX designer.
And I'm Andrew Novotny. I'm the human factors design lead, and we're excited to introduce you to Echo. So Echo has 3 main sections that we'll be walking you through, which is transactions, goals, and simulator.
So we're going to start with some insight from our user tests. So we found that our users want to feel in control of their finances. And adhering to our design principle of transparency, we found that our users really favor the clear representation of their balance, free from other sources of data, like overdraft availability, unauthorized balance, and because sometimes this can be confusing for them, what is available, what isn't available. Also, users like to view their spending in relation to a previous year. This is helpful when you compare it with a year view. So here, users see a benchmark of their current spending against the previous year. This provides the user a rapid understanding of how they are doing, if they are doing better or worse. At the same time, the application predicts future spending, seen as the grade cloud, with some uncertainty variance. And this prediction takes into account context events such as holidays, like Christmas, and events like your anniversary or birthdays. On the other hand, we understand that our users need to make sense of their spending, so Echo lets them understand where they spend their money. This is why we provide our users with the knowledge about their habits. We do this through the use of a 2-tier categorization with the parent and daughter category. We also add another feature to categorization, letting users to add notes and hashtags to transactions. This is excellent for those occasions when you need to add some contextual data to one or more transactions, and this was happily welcomed. Now I'm going to pass to Novotny that will walk us through.
Right. So when we first get to our main screen of our transaction, which is the first screen users will see when they log in, they get a prominent display of how much money they currently have available, because we found that most users desire that, as well as displaying them a bar of how much we expect them to spend from looking at their previous transaction history, as well as which gives them the financial security to know that they're on track to meet their lifestyle choices and goals. Below that, we give users insights into their spending habits that benefit the user in multiple ways, such as seeing where they spend a lot of money, seeing their average spending, or just seeing if they're accomplishing goals. Below that, in today's world, there's many different transactions that are absolute. And by absolute, I mean there's recurring subscriptions like Spotify, Netflix that occur every month on the same day. So through using machine learning, we can easily locate those purchases and help users to know about the purchases that are coming up so they can plan for their near future, as well as using machine learning to look for things that are relative transactions, such as we see that you go to a grocery store about twice a month. So we see that you haven't gone in about a week. We can guess that you'll go in the next week. And we can say, give you a variance or a ballpark estimate of how much that would cost you to let you know, again, your finances. Further along, we again use our two-tier categorization system. So for example, our Pingo Doce is categorized under food and then the subcategory groceries. And if I were to tap onto that transaction, I'm able to go further into the insights and to be able to see my previous transactions at Pingo Doce, as well as able to see, again, my variance and potential other insights, and being able to tag it, like Jules talked about earlier, to let people, again, know the full understanding of that transaction. But just understanding one transaction isn't enough. So we also give users the ability to look at their different spendings inside of a category per month basis or different time periods, as well as being able to see the full picture of their finances and visualizations that make sense to people and easily let them understand their spending habits. Through showing this, we've gotten a lot of good feedback from users that really liked it to help them understand where their money's going and how they're spending and saving.
So we also found that our users generally think in terms of achieving goals or life milestones. This is important for them either as a member of a community or as a personal growth. In a way to aid our users in this process, we created goals. So goals are shown as cards, but these cards are more than just the representation of a progress of savings. They are the metaphorical container for the money that you need to achieve a specific goal or a specific milestone. Users see it also as paying by installments, but without the negative implications. We found that most of the users would have 2 to 3 of these goals, which one would be a long-term commitment, like renovating the house or paying for a car. One interesting aspect about the goals section is that the user is paying money towards it daily. And this was seen as good by our users because it gives them a better understanding of the impact on their overall finances. So it's just like €1 a day or €2 a day instead of being more money at the end of the year. So normally different goals require different structures. So we noticed that our users like to follow structure input. Some goals required some contextual data. This also helps the application to improve its suggestions and the amount that is needed to be saved for each specific goal. To achieve this, Echo uses machine learning to cluster users within similar conditions. This could be the salary or saving potential or current financial responsibilities, but could also be others. So by using the structure input, our users are able to get a clear sense of the factors that influence the achievement of their goal. This is shown to make goals feel more achievable. And users are more enthusiastic to start it, which leads to a better perception of their financial capability. So now, Novotny will walk us through.
Right, so we get to the goal screen, which is just a tap away on the nav bar. We get to see our different goals. So each one of these goals is a different bucket. And by bucket, we mean the money drips in every day, once a day, like Joel said. So again, on our goal screen, we show that for trip to Salvador, that goal shows €7 per day. If I were to think about it as €7 per day, I can think about, oh, that's maybe 2 Pregos a day I'm not eating. Or, I don't know, some people like Pregos. Okay. Anyway, so yeah. So instead of like saying 200 to 10 per month, I'm more likely to think about, oh, I can save 7 euros per day rather than 210. That seems like a lot. As well as being able to see the progress in percent of how much food or how much. Still thinking about progress. How much you're saved towards that goal. So if we were to if we wanted to add a new goal, we would go into the add goal feature, which again goes to the categorization system, which lets users give a decent idea of what they're trying to do with their money. So each one of these categories contains different questions. So if we go into the travel goal here, we contain what is your destination, how many people you're paying for, and when do you want to accomplish this goal by when you're saving it for it. And so each of these goals categories contain the important factors that influence how much you need to save and how much you need to save by. So that way we can ask people with limited number of inputs meaningful data and be able to help them out. So when going through these screens and entering numbers and data, I'll be able to change my day, and at the end I'll be able to see that this is how much money I should save per week so that I can meet my goal on time and easily accomplish it. Again, this is all automatic as well, so once I input my goal, I can easily not have to think about it anymore, and slowly but surely I will be able to accomplish my goal on time. So with testing with users, one user was really excited and wanted to sell it to their bank Millennium. So they were really excited for this part of the application.
So the other section in our application is a simulator. So we found that our users want banks to take a leading role in providing clear and easy to digest information about their finances, but also their behaviors and the implication of those behaviors in their finances. So to shed some light in this matter, we created a simulator. So we found that what is normally missing to our users is knowledge. Knowledge is the key factor between an informed and effective decision and a regrettable mistake. So Simulator tries to provide users with the knowledge they need in the right occasion. May that be a change in their lifestyle, or an important new step in their life, like a change in their career, or a personal life event like wedding or new baby. So an interesting aspect to Simulator is that the older generation really enjoys this section. It gives them the opportunity to follow and understand the ever-changing financial environment that they live, and that might affect their daily saving capabilities. So when using the simulator, we found that our users want to see clearly the impact that their choices make. So we provide visualizations. And this was pointed out to be, by our users, to be an important step in helping them understand the implications that some of the factors play in stressing or not stressing their finances. So to ensure that our users keep visualizing, like the graph or the visualization while they're changing or making their choices, we compressed the title bar so the graph is always visual. And this was important for them because it provides a direct cause-effect correlation. So if I change my if I renegotiate my mortgage and I have a different interest rate, I see the impact on that, and I learn from it. So another important aspect to Simulator is that users are willing to take the first step in acquiring or searching new products or services as they felt empowered and confident. We found that this is an important factor due to the user's decision-making process, and it contrasts with the traditional advertising that normally provides less interactivity or transparency about the product and its impact in someone's life. So we're going to show.
So at the simulator section, this is more about understanding, like Joel said, about understanding what will happen if I do this. So we should have multiple different categories of questions that people think about things, from lifestyle to loans to housing to really complex things like education or cost of child and retirement. So each of these sections contains different types of data, different questions to ask people, and again, usually like goals, uses minimal and structured. So for example, if I wanted to look at how long it would take me to pay back a loan, I'd go to the loan section and I would tap how long does it take me to pay back a loan. So here again I would input the data, which would change the graph at the top as well as changing my answer in the subheader, and be able to give me a reasonable expectation of how long it would take me to accomplish this goal and how well it would best fit into my lifestyle. And I'm also able to play with this data and be able to see which information would best fit. If I wanted to spend more this year, maybe I wanted to put off paying my loan, I could simulate that easily. Before, users would have to typically go to a bank, but now we're empowering users to be able to do this kind of stuff right from their phone, right from their own time, without having to require services of other people. And using this data-driven expectation of their information to be able to help them accomplish what they want to do in life. And this person, an older gentleman, really liked this part because he was still paying back his housing loans, and he didn't understand clearly how much he was paying for his house and how long it would take him to pay off, even though he had just talked to a banker previously. So with transaction goals and simulator, we believe we've empowered our users to help them truly understand their finances. And now I'd like to bring back Andrew R. McHugh to finish this off.
Thank you. So we started this project about 1 year ago. In total, the project has been about 8 months long. When we first sat down and talked with users, they said that they wanted to save and that they wanted the bank to help them understand where they can improve. They also told us that they want to feel in control of their own finances. And so looking at this and other user feedback, we understood the problem, as the banks aren't necessarily answering those 3 questions that I talked about before. 1, how am I doing? 2, how will I be doing in the near and long-term futures? And 3, if I change something, how does that affect my finances? And we know, after all of this work, that with existing data and better designs, that banks can answer these questions. And that is why we created a transparent banking product that utilizes learning and prediction to provide better service. We call it Echo, and you can see it in the demo sessions today. Thank you. Questions?
So you actually implemented this, or it was not clear if it just
Yeah.
high fidelity prototype?
So I guess what do you mean by implement?
It's not deployed. We used Marvel. We've done testing here and in Lisbon. And so they have kind of like a feel of the look and how it works, the flow, like setting a new goal or looking at the simulator. And so that's as implemented as it is.
Going off of that, so we also worked in Framer to test out some of the specific interactions we were doing. So Marvel more for the visual design, and then Framer for the interactions. And you can see both in the demo session. Additionally, when we were prototyping, as much as possible, we tried to use real data. And so after we had a general direction for the designs, I took my 2015 transaction data and plugged it in so we could make sure that our designs are robust enough, and some of the simpler algorithms, at least, we implemented in that.
So you run the algorithms over some kind of sample data?
Yeah, yeah. In terms of the more complicated machine learning algorithms, they are not created, but we're designing the suggestions for the engineers to start working. Yeah.
And did you bump into any kind of issues with accessing this type of information? Is there, I'm speculating, are there restrictions to how much machine learning and data mining can be done by the banking systems over this personal data?
We haven't looked into it, yeah. We wanted to kind of we know that European Union is trying to open the bank's API in a way. So that means that we could access some sort of information, and that's kind of goes in that direction, that the bank can provide you this type of information too.
It's a good direction. It's better than making everybody go bankrupt, which is what the financial system is doing.
Yeah, we try to be as transparent as possible.
What are some...
Sorry, Jason.
I didn't. 2 people.
Okay, what are some useful push notifications that people help users to undertake daily tasks?
We had the example, for example, in the goal section, that a person she was a taxi driver, and she, as a taxi driver, she makes money every day because the taxi is seen as the money maker. So she kind of there's some overlord behind it that actually keeps all the money. And she was like, I would really like to set one of these goals to get my own taxi, like a sedan. So the impact was really interesting there. Also, we had other users who would like to look at their mortgage and look at the different opportunities from other banks with the bank that they have, and see if it is meaningful for them to renegotiate a loan or not. So they would like the simulator to tweak and see that and learn. Because some of the things, like a pamphlet doesn't give you that interaction. They show you a percentage, like we're lower than everybody else, but you can't actually see that. So the simulator brings that out, so you can really see the impact directly to you. Pedro.
So representing, Exictos, I would like to thank you all, Jay, Andrew, and Joel. It was nice to have you on board. For sure, this will be a piece of work we are going to introduce in our roadmap of products. You know, it was nice to see you, the way you understand the financial service on channel solutions. We are going to merge this with the research we are doing in-house about machine learning and artificial intelligence. So it was a pleasure, and good luck for your career.
Thank you. It was also our pleasure.
It was awesome.